what's up with it? You watching the Bank Bomber TV. And yeah, we about to check out this video from the YouTube channel Black Celeb News. And the title is What Really Happened to Darnell Jones in the Music Industry Will Shock You. Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, I completely forgot about dude, man, for real. They kind of somewhat really erased him from the industry damn near, but now that I'm thinking about it though, man, that boy did have crazy hits back in the days, man. Yeah, he was on the radio daily, man, for sure. He definitely had a run as like a big artist though, man, for real. But like I was saying, man, I completely forgot about dude, man. So yeah, man, that's crazy. So it do seem like they somewhat erased him from the industry a little bit, or trying to, you know what I mean, for real. But yeah, I haven't checked out the video, don't completely know what they talking about, but let's check it out and see what they talking about.
I see us in the park, strolling the summer day. I just left my baby girl a message saying I'll be coming home. What?
Party line. That boy definitely has some slappers. Man, I don't think they even make R&B like this though, bro.
Jones should have been
Man,
an
that boy
R&B
had some
legend
slappers
in the
for real.
same breath as Usher and R. Kelly. His smooth vocals, timeless songwriting, and undeniable talent made him one of the most promising artists of the late 90s and early 2000s. But instead of dominating the charts for decades, he seemingly vanished. So, what really happened? Here's the truth. Darnell Jones didn't just fade away, he walked away. And the reasons why are more shocking than you'd expect. At the height of his career, he was battling personal demons that nearly destroyed him. From industry pressures to struggles with addiction, Darnell's journey took a dark turn, forcing him to step back from the spotlight. But what's even crazier, unlike many of his peers, he never needed drama or controversy to sell records. His music spoke for itself. So why did the industry stop pushing him? Why did mainstream R&B erase one of its most talented voices? In this video, we'll break down Darnell Jones's rise, the struggles that pulled him away from music, and the surprising truth about where he is now. Stay tuned, because this story is deeper than you think. Most people think Darnell Jones just didn't blow up enough. That's completely false. He was writing for Usher and Madonna before he even had his own hit songs. He had a platinum-selling album and an American Music Award. He was moving in the same circles as legends, working with the biggest names in R&B. So why wasn't he a household name? Because the music industry picks winners. And Darnell, he was never supposed to be one of them. See, record labels don't just care about talent, they care about control. And Darnell, he had too much talent to be controlled. He was a singer, a songwriter, a producer. He didn't just perform songs, he created them. And that was a problem for the labels, because when an artist can do everything themselves, the label doesn't make as much money off them. So what did they do? They tried to box him in. They gave him a deal, but with restrictions. They controlled his budget, they controlled his producers, they controlled his music videos, and when his third album underperformed, they didn't even try to save his career. Instead, they did what labels always do when they're done with an artist. They stopped promoting him, and just like that, Darnell Jones disappeared. At least that's what the public saw. But behind the scenes, Donnell was going through something much worse, because while the industry was trying to erase him, he was busy self-destructing. When Donnell Jones first got signed, he should have been unstoppable. Instead, he was set up to fail. He had already proven himself as a hitmaker. He co-wrote Usher's first big hit, Think of You, and worked on Madonna's
Man.
Bedtime Stories album. So why didn't the label push him to the forefront? Because Donnell was too independent for their liking. See, the music industry thrives on controlling artists. And Donnell, he refused to play their game. He wrote his own music instead of relying on label-assigned writers. He produced his own records instead of using the industry's top producers. He had a clear artistic vision and didn't want the label to dictate his sound. And the moment an
Man.
artist starts making their own decisions, the label starts making theirs too. And their decision? To slowly push him out. How? It started with budget cuts. Instead of funding major marketing campaigns, the label barely promoted his projects. Then came creative interference. For his 2002 album Life Goes On, the label forced outside producers onto the project, people Donnell didn't even want to work with. And when the album didn't
Man.
perform the way they expected, they pulled the plug. No more major promotions, no big radio push, no industry backing. And just like that, the same label that had once rushed to sign him dropped him overnight.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, that's a fool with it. But yeah, man, it looked like he didn't sell out. That's the problem, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, man. A lot of artists too, man, they get bad deals, and then the record label throw creative control on there, so they be like controlling what the artists do. So it seemed like he wasn't going for that, man. Yeah, man, gotta salute him on not selling out, man. A lot of people sold out, man, and he had crazy hits, so man, they had to taint his career somehow or something.
But here's the thing, they weren't the only ones trying to control Donnell's career, because while the industry was slowly pushing him out, he was making it easy for them. His personal life was spiraling, his drinking was getting worse, his relationships were falling apart, and his bad decisions were starting to catch up with him. And that's when everything came crashing down. While Donnell was battling the music industry's politics, he was also fighting a much bigger battle within himself. The fame, the money, the industry lifestyle, it all hit at once. And like so many artists before him, he fell into the trap. Alcohol became his escape. He was drinking every single day. His nights blurred into a cycle of studio sessions, partying, and blackouts. And as the pressure of
Man.
his career mounted, so did his self-destructive habits. At first, he thought he had it under control, but behind the scenes, he was losing everything. His relationship with Kushina Hunter, the mother of his children, was falling apart. His label was turning its back on him. His music was suffering. And then the mistakes started piling up. One night, while riding in a limo with friends, things took a dark turn. They allegedly asked the driver to take them to Washington Heights to buy some substances. The driver refused, and according to reports, things got physical. Donnell was arrested for harassment and possession of a weapon. And just like that, his bad
Man.
decisions became public. It didn't completely ruin his career, but it gave the industry exactly what they needed to officially write him off. By the early 2000s, his name was barely in the conversation anymore. No label support, no major industry backing, and instead of fighting back, Donnell sank deeper into his addiction. His drinking got worse. He was burning bridges with friends and collaborators. And when he wasn't in the studio, he was drowning in alcohol. Then came the moment that changed everything. One night, while visiting his kids, Donnell made a mistake he couldn't ignore. He drove them to a birthday party. While completely intoxicated, he got pulled over. And when the officer smelled the alcohol on his breath, that was it. He was arrested for driving under the
Damn.
influence. And for the first time, he realized he was out of control. That was his breaking point. He knew that if he didn't get help, he would lose everything. So for the first time in years, Donnell Jones made the choice to save himself, and that's when his life took a turn. After years of spiraling, Donnell finally hit rock bottom. The DUI wasn't just a wake-up call, it was a warning. He realized if he didn't stop drinking, he'd lose his family. If he didn't stop self-destructing, his career would never recover. If he didn't change, he wouldn't survive. So for the first time in his life, he made a choice that wasn't about music, fame, or the industry. It was about saving himself. Donnell checked checked into rehab. No more alcohol, no more industry distractions, just him facing the demons he'd been running from for years. And for the first time in a long time, he was in control. But getting sober was just the first step, because while Donnell was finally fixing his personal life, his career, it was still in shambles. The industry had moved on without him. His label wasn't waiting for him to recover. And when he got out of rehab, he realized something even worse. He had no idea how to get his career back. But Donnell, he wasn't done yet, because even if the industry gave up on him, he wasn't about to give up on himself. So he did something that shocked everyone. Instead of begging for a new deal, instead of waiting for the industry to notice him again, he took matters into his own hands.
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, with like his catalog though with them hits, I don't think he should have had no problem like bouncing back. Like, man, to this day, I think he can perform them songs and get paid, man, for real. He got some timeless music, man. It definitely seemed like they had some issue with him or something and slowed down his career, because I don't know how he couldn't bounce back with all those hits, you know what I mean?
After rehab, Donnell Jones was a new man. He had finally kicked his addiction, rebuilt his personal life, and was ready to reclaim his spot in the industry. But there was one problem. The industry had already moved on. The early 2000s R&B landscape had changed. The smooth, soulful sound that Donnell was known for, it wasn't what labels were pushing anymore. Hip-hop was dominating R&B. New artists were emerging, and Donnell, once a leader in the game, was now being treated like an afterthought. Still, he refused to give up. So in 2006, he dropped Journey of a Gemini, his first album after getting clean. And at first, it looked like he was back. The album debuted at #1 on the Billboard R&B charts. His song, I'm Gonna Be, had people paying attention again. He had a second chance to prove himself. But then, the label pulled the rug out from under him. They refused to film more music videos. They cut off funding for promotion. And just like before, they stopped pushing his album right when he needed them the most. Donnell believed it wasn't just about sales, it was personal. Because after years of fighting against label interference, after proving that he could write and produce his own music, after refusing to be just another industry puppet, they wanted to bury him. And without label support, his comeback fell apart before it could even start. After that, things only got worse. By 2008, he was dropped from Arista Records. His name was barely being mentioned in the R&B scene. And just like that, Donnell Jones, the man who once ran with Legends, had to start from scratch. But this time, instead of chasing a label deal, he decided to go independent. It was his last shot at taking back his career. After getting dropped from Arista, most artists would have disappeared forever. But Donnell Jones, he refused to let the industry define his legacy. Instead of chasing another label deal, instead of trying to fit into the new R&B sound, he went independent. In 2010, he dropped Lyrics, his first album on an independent label. And surprisingly, it did well, at least by indie standards. The album debuted at #9 on the R&B charts. His single Love Like This got some radio play. Fans were still rocking with him, but the truth was independent success didn't hit the same. Because while Donnell was still making quality music, he no longer had the machine behind him. No huge marketing budgets, no big tour sponsorships, no major radio push. And in today's music industry, without those things, you don't stand a chance. But Donnell kept going. In 2013, he released Forever. It debuted at #3 on the Billboard R&B charts. He dedicated the title track to Michael Jackson. He was still respected in the industry, just not prioritized. By this point, Donnell had accepted reality. The industry wasn't going to give him a second chance. His music wasn't going to get the same push as newer artists. And the days of him dominating R&B charts, they were over. But at the same time, he had something most artists don't get: a second chance at life. Donnell had beaten addiction. He had reconnected with his family. And in 2014, after 8 years of dating, he married his longtime partner, Jazz. That's when his priorities changed. It wasn't about chasing fame anymore. It was about stability, family, and peace. Instead of chasing label deals, he started his own label, Candyman Music. Instead of relying on the industry, he worked with artists on his own terms. Instead of trying to prove himself, he focused on making the music he loved. And decades later, his classic hits are still in rotation. His songwriting is still respected, and despite everything he's been through, he never lost his love for music.
And I ain't gonna lie, you can't deny his talent, man. For them to be trying to knock him off and pull him down, but he's still hitting the charts though, you know what I'm saying? Even independently. So man, yeah, man, he definitely a talented dude, man, for real though.
25 years after his debut, Donell Jones has something most artists from his era don't: ownership. He owns the rights to his music. He's the CEO of his own label, Candyman Music. And unlike most R&B artists from the 90s, he's not stuck in a bad record deal. The same industry that once controlled him now has no power over him. No label telling him what to do. No executives controlling his budget. No contracts eating up his royalties. Everything he makes from his music goes straight into his pocket. And that's rare, because the truth is, most artists from his generation don't own their masters. They lost their music to bad contract. They're fighting for scraps from their old labels. But Donell, he played the long game. When the labels dropped him, he built his own. When they stopped promoting him, he stayed independent. When the industry moved on, he kept making music anyway. And now, he's in full control of his career. In an era where artists like Taylor Swift and Anita Baker are fighting to buy back their music, Donell Jones already owns his. And that might just be his biggest victory. So was Donell Jones a victim of the industry? Or did he sabotage himself? The truth is, it's both. Yes, the industry undervalued him. Yes, labels set him up to fail. Yes, the industry made it impossible for him to make a true comeback. But Donell, he made mistakes too. He got lost in the lifestyle. He let addiction take over. He burned bridges at the worst possible time. And when it was time to fight for his career, it was already too late. But here's the thing. Donell Jones may not have become the legend he was supposed to be, but his music still speaks for itself. And in the end, that's what really matters. Did Donell Jones get blackballed by the industry, or was his downfall his own fault? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, that's crazy, but really, man, that's more legendary than just being a legend for like singing and stuff. Basically survived the industry trying to take them out, you know what I mean? Usually they blackball somebody, man, it's like over with. So man, that's proving that the talent is there, man, for sure. Because man, I ain't gonna lie, once the label turn on, a lot of people, they be over with, you know what I'm saying? They be on the bench for like years and years. Like, damn, when they go drop that album keep getting pushed back. Before you know it, it's fucking 10 years later and album still ain't dropped, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, salute to him on that one, man. He ain't getting his masters and everything, man. Man, I ain't gonna lie, you know, Anita Baker masters is some classics, you feel me? I don't know how they still own her shit, you know what I'm saying? A lot of her music damn near is from like 30 years ago, you know what I mean? So that's crazy. And yeah, man, even Taylor Swift, so that's crazy. So man, think about that, and like the level of them people, you can see he down there won, man, you know what I'm saying? Seemed like he started doing his thing even more shit once he stopped even caring about the industry, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, shit, he down there doing better than he would be in the industry, because the industry really do be robbing dudes, you know what I mean? So man, yeah, man, that's an inspiring story though, man, for real though. Salute to him, man, for real. He did some boss shit, man, for real. Getting them masters and everything, man, shit. I think he won, man, for real though, no bullshit. Yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to the Babe Bummer TV. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Until next time, peace.